All right. Okay. All right. Dope. So we are live once again. Taylor Bud. We cut off for a second, but it was just on time because I didn't even have my mask on. Didn't realize. That's crazy. Let me see.
Are you somewhere where you need a mask?
No, I'm running this shit up. Like I'm becoming. Because I was telling you about that rapper. He does a mask. It's like nobody really knows who he is. So I'm creating this mystery factor around this persona, and that I think is beautiful because we were talking about possession before we cut out. And there's just like, I feel like this whole time I've been able to sort of take who I was or take who I was programmed to be, and then pick out things I want to keep, let go of things I want to drop, and then I can just create a whole new person that I can basically become possessed by. And the possession, so we were talking about possession before we cut out because we were discussing Taylor's 2020 Tantra and how to even write something like that, the creative space you got to be in. It's kind of like that. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Taylor?
So we recording right now. All right, where you saying like basically my thoughts on the whole creative process, right? We talking about 2020 still, right?
Yeah, 2020 Tantra, it came out and you were in a space that you wrote it where, you know, I don't know, like, do you remember writing much, or is just, it really was just this creative zone that just flowed out of you because of where you were at in your consciousness?
Yeah, I was definitely in a really lovely place at the time. I wrote it in 2018. In 2017, like I had got privy to the Martin Kinney information about 2020. So I my experiences from 2017 into 2018. By spring of 2018, I had it completed. So I really felt like I had mastered something that I wanted to share with people. And I was just really in a loving place at the time, like overall, just in general, I felt like really taken care of by life. And I feel like it was just a really unconscious place as far as like channeling. It was really conscious but unconscious at the same time, just pretty much allowing, the creation is alignment. So I feel like I was in a nice state of alignment, and it just kind of just happened, and I don't remember really a lot of it, but I mean it all makes sense when people send me the parts of it, and I agree with it, and I know the information, I get the gist of it, but how it was all put together and worded, it sometimes when people send me stuff, it's almost like reading somebody else's material, because it was like I was just in the zone. Yeah.
Yeah, just a hilarious moment. Is like when somebody's just reveling over this thing that you made, and you don't even remember making it. you know,
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
I guess it's like that's how they thing when it's like the when her work is when her work is complete, she forgets it. That's why it lasts forever. And I really feel like that's true, man. Like the things that like I'm not like trying to be overly anal about as far as projects. Whenever I just make something and it's just like, oh man, I really enjoyed the process, and I enjoy indulging in the product. So when that happens, I feel like it's always it's always really timeless material, and it's not as forced, and it always feels like way woo way. It does feel like effortless, but so much goes into it as a collective that it's effort, but it's just one brick at a time.
yeah. And I just love the whole Dada Ching view on just not being attached to your work and being ready to let go of it when it's done. And that definitely has been a struggle. It's not a struggle, but that note has been in my mind to prevent a lot of struggling with me and like my artwork and what I'm working on. Is just to be able to let go of it, even when I'm just really in it, knowing to walk away. Like that could be super tough, but it's wise, and it just keeps getting better and better. And I like what popped out is just about how well you were taken care of by life, and to be in that position. And what else are you gonna do? Like, besides contribute in a way that's authentic to you and natural. And when
Yeah.
you're aligning like that, it's just it's profound. And I don't know, like you could just put that on someone's plate, and it's so profound. It's like, what do I even do with this? And there's probably not many people who even have a palate for that. But whoever does and can connect, make that connection, it can just create ripples beyond what I can even fathom right now. But it's just fun. I feel like to look at the creative process behind that takes it even deeper. into really just the way that you're being and kind of the path that you're on at this point. And I want to check in too, just see where we're at with this 2020 situation, the Martin Kenny Cosmic Egg. December 21st coming up. There's just still tons of just all the confusion, misdirection, unconsciousness. Things are unfolding on a daily. Has anything shifted for you since we last spoke?
Man, I really feel like now, and even like when I was writing it, kind of like I was like in a cosmic egg in a sense. Like I'm just like in a bubble. Like I feel like I get little bubbles to like, I don't know if it's like bubbles of air to where I can just like make, have a little pocket to like, rest and create. And I feel like right now I've been given a weird bubble to where I can just like crank things out. So it's like, it's pretty nice to be able to just either work with people every day or do podcasts pretty much daily and, brainstorm, all different things. Like I just completed another book with my sister.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's called Breath of Peace or whatever. So it's just like, a cadre of routines and like a bunch of routines of all different time lengths and everything. And it's pretty dope. And since we got she took it her way and put her own spin on her recipes, and I got mine and my stance, so it's nice. But I feel like it's been creative time. And obviously right now we're pretty much on top of the roller coaster. I feel like with the rally in Tulsa and, they got the new moon right now and solstice and the eclipse, ring of fire eclipse or whatever. It's all happening. And then Sunday's supposed to be another bunch of rallies around the world. So it should be pretty eventful weekend. It's a lot of energy in small pockets. So something's got to happen. Something got to happen.
I mean, this is already been happening.
They make news of anything. So it's gonna be something.
Yeah, isn't it funny how fake news produces real results?
It's incredible, man. It's incredible how this is, man.
Yeah, that's cool. And so you're up. So you're literally you're touching 7 hours a day. I saw you talking about that. What's up with that?
Yeah, man. I've been just making no excuses. Like every time I'm in those, it was kind of like the same mentality clicked for me. I don't know if it's just because all the energy in the air right now and there's more energy available. I don't know, but the same mentality clicked for me at different periods in my life when I was training. And I just went over, got over that mental like hurdle where I was like, am I tired? Am I sore or whatever? And I was like, no, I'm just going to keep going and keep working out or whatever and keep building. And I feel like now I've like done that same mentality, but like in a gentle way where it's like, no, I can do a session right now. And I always just at this point, like I'm not really as anal as I was, and it's allowing me to be more efficient because now I'll be like, all right, I'm not gonna have the intention of this being an hour. I'm just gonna start. And as long as I get started, then I'll see where it takes me. And then, after 20 minutes of breathing, I complete the whole hour every time anyway. So it's a nice way to like, I pretty much like coerce myself into it. And now it's like a cycle that I can't really break because it's been too many hours, too many days in a row now to where like stepping off of it, I can feel it intensely. And then it's like, so it's pretty hot where I am. So it's easy to stay light. I don't really have any appetite for anything heavy, so like I can feel like probably a long fast coming here. I don't know, a bunch of fasting will probably happen between now and December for sure. Like whether I intend to or not, it just seems like it's probably gonna happen. And I think for a lot of people too. Some people just trained and some just aren't.
Well, bro, you're in a fucking bubble, like. So doing that much breath work every day, your whole field's in a zone. It's just this frequency is super light. And I emphasize the word bubble because it's like it really is that you're in your own zone and you can cultivate that space, but there's no limitations there. and you know exactly what you're doing. You're just staying humble, you know, with the human talk about it. But I'm over here like, yeah, it's not about the fasting, it's not about the breathing. It really is just you being in alignment on a level that you probably, you know, you're always progressing. So to press forward into this though, but with the potential that's really just in this space currently because of the different alignments happening, it's like I just feel like you're on a wave right now that like it's so significant, but we can't even really see it, like unless we're looking from like the Mendelbrot or some shit.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now, where I'm like, man, this is I guess this is what this looks like once you start to really, you know, once you really start to click into this. And like, it really makes me feel like a lot of people that talk about breatharianism are, you know, not really as forthright as they could be. Because, you know, a lot of people, I feel like, will not do the breath work because they feel like it's all mental and it's not any like practicality to being breatharian.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like you do it enough, then you get to a point where you want to do it, and then it's like, you know, it's just poetry in motion at that point. It's really just it's not like something that you're against. So then it just continues to flourish. It's kind of like, I guess, when you're a kid, when you start practicing something you love, and then you just keep doing it because you see yourself get better, and it just becomes almost obsessive. But at the same time, it's like it's just really. It's really amazing to see, because I never thought that I would even be here in some regards, like, you know, different stages of the breath work. And like, it's amazing how one little thing can change it, and then you can just double up your sessions.
Boom. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could be one little release. And like, the more you go into the process, the releases get smaller, but they're like relatively huge.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
you're lighter.
that perspective, you know, like, because I feel like that goes hand in hand with energy being released. Is this shift in perspective? You know, it's now it's there. It's just obvious. I could do 2 breath sessions. I could do 2 more. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Like once I get to certain periods in the day, I'm like, man, is there really anything else that I could do that's better than this? And every hour and a half or so, I'll be like, nah, nothing better I can do. I'm doing another session, you know, and it just keeps spiraling this way. And I can see like it don't feel like it's gonna let up, you know, as long as I'm alive and breathing, you know. I think that it would definitely, it's only gonna increase. And I'm just experiencing what it looks like to be like immersed in the breath and really like not just be wanting to be in a stage, but being in a stage and enjoying it, enjoying the process, realizing like there's another stage beyond this stage, because it's continually been that way.
Nice.
And not really rushing to the next stage, because it's nice right now.
And I mean, it's endless, and to just you're getting into this thing. Because I'm looking at the reduction lifestyle, I'm looking at the atom. You know, I'm looking at, you know, if it was just this infinite recursion of Russian dolls of my body and my consciousness to go to the singularity, that point, or the atom. You know, to look at it, there's pictures now. I was telling you about it a while ago, but to look at that atom, that looks like me. Like that, whoa, that's actually who I am. Like, that's what's behind all of this. That's what's behind all these things, is like this 0 point node of infinite energy. And it's like, because it's so tiny, but then we have this huge idea of ourselves. And that's what we're reducing in this lifestyle, is we're just reducing our idea of ourselves to get more humble and to further identify, I feel like, into that position. And the more I feel like you're reducing, you're in this lifestyle, years in, you're beyond quantum already. You know, you've been gone quantum, and then still reducing, getting smaller. I'm feeling like this is the collapse into singularity of consciousness that's actually like been foretold, you know, quote unquote, but in practicality though, like actually seeing how practically you're really going into this process of basically condensing yourself back into that single 0 point. So, and this is just my perspective in terms of, if this is what I was doing, then I could get to that point. I could be small enough to just pass through the layers of reality and just go to whatever other spot I want to go. And I see you just being a world traveler like that. Even, you know, conversation we had a while back. like a few nights ago, just talking about the ones who can build bridges between realities and like step in and out of different timelines, or have dreams and then start to pull energy from this reality into the dream of another reality. I feel like as the more energy is freed up for you, you could just do any of that and beyond, like further, just projecting on this path. And it's just fucking lit. It's so fucking lit. Like I'm hearing, I'm seeing it. I'm like, I'm also just getting started with it. And I feel like there's opportunities now to where if people wanted to get to that point, they get to it way quicker, especially with a mentor like I did with you. And yeah, it's incredible. There's no words, but but to keep going, but it's like a fucking RPG on some shit, like getting into it, beyond the deluge, and putting the pieces back together. This is it's time, and you're doing that work, and I just have a reverence for that again. So shouts to you. For doing that, and just shouts out to the listeners also, just in the mid podcast, but because this is some real shit. I mean, I'm looking. It doesn't seem like there's anything more important than doing this, and actually, like,
it's so overlooked because it's so simple.
Yeah,
but I guess that's what makes it hard. But man, I feel like it's such a it's such a dope thing, get into the layers of life. I guess like you could call it like getting to that point of surrounding that unconscious period with as many breath sessions as possible. And like, I guess you call dreams the unconscious period or whatever, that in between. And the more I do that, the more I see that you can just colonize other dreams and like gradually push your way into them. Cause it's all like the same, everything's coming from the same template. I don't know if Sirius is since it's the brightest star, if that's the template of creation that we're all reflecting, and then there's just like limitless cosmic eggs that we all can traverse, and you can just colonize them and come in and out of them. But I just feel like from my experiences of just getting greater touch with the breath, and then by that through that, it brought me a greater clarity in my dreams, or what you want to call dreams, to where now it just makes it impossible to really fear death, because you're like, man, you kill me, like I'm just gonna shift over. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Hell yeah.
It makes it impossible, like because you've really seen that crossover point, and then beyond that, and then like it's a lot harder, a lot more difficult to stay attached to this personality and reality. So I guess, if you were really like totally like full spectrum awareness, there is no real way to be like facetious and like, so focused on a persona that you just want to collect and collect and collect this much this lifetime. Because, as far as like material possession, because I guess like if you have like unlimited eggs to colonize or whatever, parallel universes, that you could just, have a bunch of, experiences, all different types of experiences, all, from musician to engineer, whatever it is, whatever, why not? Because it's infinity we're playing with.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, it's so cool. Not even cool. It goes to a place where we can even see, like, it's so inspirational to me, like just this idea of like, you can't kill me. And I feel like it's been lifetimes of being here, of getting killed out of ignorance, thinking that we wouldn't come back and deal with this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like real niggas, like you can't kill us. We multiply. We're gonna multiply and make it a bigger issue for what's going on until this is
it's just like a crazy I guess the trap is to get you to identify with your body, so that the consciousness, I guess, stays identified with, it's like synchronized to death or dying, and then it just stays in that place, and like continually repeats and respawns from like anybody that's like having babies from that energy level. And that's why I think it's a dope thing about this breath session thing, getting to this stage of it. It's like I'm not even anywhere near any of the ancestry that I had that walked the earth in the last probably few hundred years. Like at this point, it's only, ancestors that are like far off, that I really feel like, I mean, I still feel like everybody, but at this point, for my body to really become like possessed like it was before at different periods, like when I would be in like on a bender and drinking is in my life and everything, it really is like I went below that threshold. I went below the water
Mm-hmm.
or whatever of consciousness in a sense to where I went to a place, a depth where certain ancestry, that energy could possess me. And
Yeah.
then after like years of cleansing and doing the breath work, it's like there's, and as far as this wavelength, it's just not, it's only like really love at this point, you know what I mean? As far as like these wavelengths, I feel like I'm not really getting any adverse like dream attacks or anything like that. It doesn't seem like I'm going through those things. I'm really just, it feels like I'm just, I guess, repairing the pieces, bringing the pieces back together, and just restoring the order of things.
Yeah.
And that's really about it. Really, I mean, I don't know who would be. Maybe I'm the eldest ancestor in the tree, and that's why it's reached this end. And then like I'm the one that restarts it. I don't know.
That was the word I was gonna use. It's elder. Like looking at the ancestry, like recent, but then the difference between ancestors and elders, and where you're at with that. And with letting different, more divine energies possess you, because that's where I'm at currently. I even like last night, my bro came to me, like let me read this. I said I finally met and became friends with him in my dreams. And whether it's a projection of my mind or not, there's just symbolism. It's either symbolism or a contact, like symbolism from my soul or contact. I'm like looking at it like that, and it felt like contact. And that's the bro. Like he died doing what I'm about to do to finish for him, which is also for me, because we're the same. And I'm moving in that direction as well. It's like, how do I make myself available to more conscious energy so I can be a vessel for whatever needs to be done in accordance with that. And it's feeling more and more possible in a way that's it's beyond judgment. So there's no issues with stepping aside and being able to work beyond the veil now, and to get on that path of, these conversations specifically are what propels me forward personally, like looking at it, and it's just perspective after perspective. I'm not even lying. Every time we speak, or I'd say like 80% of the time we speak, there's some major shift that I end up making. And the more time it is between the times that I speak with you, usually the bigger shift needs to be made, because I'm still getting off the path with the breathing, because I still think it's a mental thing, like one of those people. But now it's not even really that, but it's just something I know how to do. And when I don't feel good in my body, I could just sit down and do it, breathe for like 5 minutes. But I'm not going to do no hour. Of course, I'm going to do the hour. But how many cycles do I have to go through of just like getting on top of it, falling off, getting on top, falling off? I'm getting this wisdom in this oscillation. And I like it too. So it's just weird now, because as I'm walking the path, I know it gets made. And it's like I can't go wrong with it. Same time, I feel like I still can fuck myself up if I'm not breathing. I could even get killed. Like that idea came in my head. I heard you talking to who's the black airbender? Shouts out to that guy. What's his name?
Devon,
yeah. And you were saying something like, I feel like, because you would have got killed, probably. You would have died or got killed had you not started breathing. But I feel like being on a certain level, dealing with unconsciousness, as long as you're steady with it, you're untouchable by any forces of fuckery. This is just in my theory. What do you think?
you just got to be you guys got to be hyper responsible, because you're coming into it from you know what I mean? It's like a different grading curve that you're going through. It's like if you were playing 5-on-5 basketball, and it wasn't just like the outright score of your team versus their team. Like you had to beat an individual on their team personally, and your team had to win. That's kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's a more responsible, like you have to be responsible coming into it, because you're being tested at a different grade. It's like first grade, second grade. You're coming in at a different state of awareness. So your challenge is relative. So people are going through their challenges, and it's not like any harder or easier. It's relative. So it's whatever hard and easy is to you. So you when you are like delving into like the ignorance, it's just like it's even more like it's more I guess it's just, what could I say, prudent. It's really just something that you need to, it's really
Gotta be more
damn,
diligent.
I can't find it.
Is diligent?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, be really diligent because you're setting an example and you have to set the tone. So
Right.
it's not like you're being graded. Like you're coming in like man, why are y'all so dumb? But
Yeah.
it's like damn, like I'm being graded in a different realm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's relative. It's not, I can't even be focused on their development. Like I have to, only way that they can develop is if I show them the best pattern and the greatest example of this. Like
Yeah.
I went through different periods with people being around me, and I just showed the most patience I could show because I really truly did want them to learn the breath work, and
Yeah.
I just feel like, man, you really, really being spoiled right now, and you're really testing my patience. But
Yeah.
I know like that's not really who you are. It's just what you're going through, and like it's not. It's like it just kept testing my patience, and then I'm like, man, once you get this though, I know you got it, and then we'll be able to really have conversations and stuff, and like and it'll all make sense once you get this. And every time that I was in those circumstances, it was just demanding that I be the just the most delicate teacher, where I had to be, I couldn't push. I had to, people get pushed in different ways. They need to get pushed in different ways, but like for me, it was just really, it got really like it. You wanted people to change or whatever, but you kind of got to look at them like they're you. So you always want to keep it like respectful in that sense, and then it's such a delicate like joust and like give and take thing to where you're like, well, I'm gonna go do breath work right now, you know what I mean? And they're just like, well, I wanted to smoke or eat food or whatever. And you're like, yeah, but we got this time, we could do this instead. And then like after days of just doing that and being around the person for days and days, and then they see like where their energy is, and they get this example of your energy, and you just have patience for them, then it's more attractive for
Yeah.
them, because then they don't feel like they're in a cult. It's really up to them at that point.
Yeah, I mean that's how I always felt like being around you too, and I really resonate with that because it's something about people flipping on you, and everybody's experience like you're so tight with somebody, but then one day they can only see all the negative shit you did, as they're using that. It's like their selective focus on their brain got hijacked to use it to give them a rationale for leaving that makes them feel good about themselves. Because if they had to leave for another reason, that it's just hard on the ego. So I mean, is this making sense though?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
and
And
just
mental gymnastics.
to know that though, as a quote unquote teacher, like a student teacher at the same time. I'm not trying to teach. Like I feel like I'm getting played teaching. It's like it's a weird thing, but so I regress.
I mean, you're teaching yourself, and other people are observing how to
Yeah,
teach, to learn for themselves.
yeah. So I'll digress. It's just into knowing that it's almost like a minefield, like because it seems it's something about value and how much value that person sees evolutionarily. That I mean, and that's why what kicks in is just so unstoppable, and it's seen everywhere. Is that flip of the selective focus, and it's tough when it's with someone that you love, and like you're when they're with you, or they're conscious awake, like it's there, but then there is this other thing that's not them that takes over sometimes, and you got to like navigate that. And know and take on that responsibility. Like if they do, and like I'm at the point, like if somebody does flip on me, it's on that type of shit, like making shit up, telling other people like shit I didn't do, anything like that. I'm ready to say it's still my fault, because I gotta track that and still know how to move around it. And it feels like that's just where everybody is with this whole this PC culture, like walking on eggshells. It's fucked up. Like is this gonna be a whole generation of people just walking on eggshells, or are we going to be able to like talk? But I feel like it is a bit of both, with knowing this and how to step it up even more on the communication, but probably move more wisely in terms of how we're having public communication, and then, make space for our private information and private education. I feel like that's definitely a move. Like that's just the move for sure. Yeah, I mean, I feel that too, and see that I'm coming up on a lot of that, but I just love this whole idea of being a working model, where I had been, still unconscious, still conscious, trying to make videos talking about what I know, like I do. But I learned so much about the feedback, watching myself on videos, getting the message and refining it, and still getting to the point where I could communicate it and get it across to some specific people, not everybody like I would want to. And now I'm making music though. I feel like just the music, being able to just live my life, not talk about it, and just find my craft, and then through my craft be able to just work on that and be able to just and be that model and show it. There's no talking needed. And when you're in your own bubble, doing your relative lessons, getting your relative lessons, other people are in their bubbles getting their relative lessons. You could be at Walmart one day, cross paths, and they just saw a unicorn. Like, what's up with that person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. You definitely raising red flags just by being, just by floating through there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. And to see, I mean, that's just where the real change is coming. Like, if I'm getting annoyed with the unoriginal thought and just like impending issues for my family, and then seeing the suffering with going on with kids and other things, is like, and then feeling this urge, like I want to do something. I feel like everybody wants to do something so bad, they're gonna go and like contribute to the violence or contribute to the conflict or the division or the judgment in that act. And it seems more, it's like they don't have, there's no other option. I'm not gonna say they, but there's just no other option but to get upset and then try to do something about it. But nah, let's be about it. and that being, there's no doing that needs to be done. And that's the most radical shift, is this, it will be what will change things, whether anybody's aware of it or not, because everything's all connected, happening right now. And to know the framework of reality, and then have it be energy based, and then move to energy based, not even an energy based diet, but an energy based psychology, and moving over to energy psychology, changing the self image from matter to spirit, through that process, waking up each of your physical cells to that awareness too, and it all happening in a graduated process headed to what looks like to go beyond time, or outside, whatever we're calling this. It's like, it's just a gift, and to stay on it and stay with it. That's why it's so beautiful, because once you get it and once it clicks, you're into this other stage. That's just with you talking about, I'm talking about you're just up in your breath sessions to get to new stages. It's just, you got to let go of whatever was going on before that. And that feels like is probably going to be the final boss for anybody really who just wants to make that transition. But it seems like there's like an evolutionary pressure now being put on us to actually make that energy shift on a personal level. But what it's going to look like, nobody knows, but I mean, not but
yeah.
And it's like not going to be imparted with words, but it's just by you being on, not display, but being available like that. I'm even on this podcast, I don't have a shirt on. I'm just talking, I'm in the corner of the room just showing my energy, and there's so much more being said. It could be so much more effective in making a shift to where there's no thinking involved, and that's the best. That's just beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, man. I mean, seeing is really living, man, and it really is just that inner vision. The more that you can't live a life that you haven't fathomed, you have to get that inner vision to even fathom, that existence, like. And I kind of feel like that's happening for me right now, in a sense, whereas like I never had saw myself doing 7 sessions a day so effectively and still having other time, and it's like, I know it's preparing me for something. And I also know it's a universal shift, and it's a dope thing because, it's like, I get to say the Jesus thing, like, you should love your enemies. They, like, some people say, love your enemies and hate your friends. Enemies remain the same and friends always change and all that. Like, but like, and then the Tao Te Ching is like, the best athlete wants their opponent at their best. I mean, it all makes sense. Like, as we have certain things stripped away from us, the only things that can be taken from us in reality are things we don't need. And then it's like the attachment is what creates the suffering. And then realizing that we never needed it and it was never really a part of us is the awakening, or the realization. And that's kind of the dope part of the whole thing going on right now. And I'm like, wow, I can see the challenge. Like, it's becoming more of a challenge for people to get breathing, everybody's distracted, everybody's in panic mode, people got masks on. You got a lot of things going on in life right now that are, different levels of distraction and different levels of like this appearance of things being taken away from us, whether it's like civil liberties or whatever. But it's like the automatic, the adjustment is there, and there's no need to be frantic about it. Like, even if they really did just put us all in cells, the people that got into crazy self-mastery, they would just be like, well, I'm gonna go internal. I got this inner vision, and what I mean? Like, you can only take things from me that aren't me. So it's not, it's a wild process, like how the challenge goes as far as that. It's like, okay, so this is what you guys are trying to, we wake up one day, you're like, okay, this is what you guys are trying to take now. Let me realize how I don't need this, why I never needed it, and how this adjustment is what I ultimately needed, and how this is like ultimately a blessing, really,
Big thank you.
Yeah. But people want to hold on to things and traditions and the peer pressure from dead people. So they, it's crazy where we at as far as that, but it is what it is.
Always. And I want to backtrack a second to just that phenomena. And I'm gonna, I don't know, we might be coming up on an hour soon, and I want to keep it short again, but yeah, I mean, if we did get locked up in cells, someone on some crazy self-mastery, you go sit down and then go in. And what I'm seeing, like, just as a fun hypothetical, is like, couldn't you just like sit down and like go in and then just basically reenact the creation process in the void of nothing in your mind to create a whole new experience, to where it would happen, you don't know where it came from, and then you live into it, but then you collapse it on itself, and then you go to what was before it, and it was you sitting in a cell like meditating on this shit. And then
I mean, you definitely slip into another dream and colonize that bitch. But like, and then also like, if it's, or like if it's not, like, because that would be like if you needed to totally just dissolve and move on, like, and let go of this body or this prism. So like, if not, then you just keep doing the breath work until the abundance is apparent, because it's there. It's just like, okay, so how do I arrange these ingredients because they're here? And then it's like the more I'm doing the breath work, the more that it becomes apparent, and then it just continues to manifest and snowball the abundance, and then you would probably get out of that situation. But ultimately, like I always say, like I feel like we're in cells. We are cells, like of the universal body. So it's just like we decorate. You just decorate your cell. You know what I mean? I think ultimately, like, you know what I mean? When you think about it, like if you're Bill Gates, yeah, you got a bunch of money or whatever, but there's you couldn't even go certain places. Like, you need security, you need all these other things. You're in your own like prison. It's just like really like a decadent prison, and like everybody's kind of in. Yeah, everybody's in there like social paralysis, socio-economic cage or whatever.
Paralysis, goddamn, man.
Yeah. So everybody kind of has that, and when you step outside of the cell, you pay for it one way or another. It doesn't, like, it's always an exchange, whether you gotta like pay for protection or like you gonna pay for it karmically or whatever, energetically.
Yeah, this is what I like to call, is in the guise of what I like to call astral real estate. And look at examining the inner space is what everybody's got an allotment, but for some people it basically got what's the word, not colonized, but it's just a bunch of shit on it. Like, it's space. It's like capital, mental capital, astral capital. That's what it is. Astral capital. Like talking astral real estate, my inner space. But then, a baby has like maybe that sacred spot, but then you throw the tricks money in that bitch. And now there's these logos and shit running around on the inner space that's your space, but then it's getting taken up by other things, and then people start to feel like they're losing space and they're kind of crowded internally. But to kind of be able to deprogram the situation linguistically with acumen, it literally can just open up and free up space in the inner world for people, and we can occupy our cell. And that's really poignant and interesting too. And seeing how the language is just designed to fuck us up, is just having a negative connotation around cell. But then a positive, it's like a jail cell. I don't want to be in a cell, but then you see the word cell like sales, and then but then actual like a cell in the universe, or like, yeah, and it's just really cool to look at it like that, and how even the people who you would think it's crazy, like the people you think you want to have their life, it's a old lesson now, like in the self-help world,
Yeah.
but now it's still like that though. I'm just getting more into the realizations just through like being a little more okay day by day with being ordinary, like like just being an ordinary person instead of staying because I'm up in the clouds. I've been up in the clouds, like in the higher chakras, like just all in the mind for maybe 3 years, and I'm getting back into the body through Tantra. The whole thing's getting expedited because I'm doing dual cultivation now, and it's getting lit like that, and it's cool to, yeah, I'm just looking at it. Wow, all of this is so dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, it would be really dope. Like, I'd assume that it came from a place of, basically kind of the same way that somebody might have a cabin in the woods that they just leave open for people to come and stay and go and leave or whatever, or like get in from a snowstorm or whatever. And it's like, you don't destroy nothing. You sleep here, you move forward, or whatever. And I feel like maybe it was that way. Like, we all have cells, and then people were going, traversing the cells, trying, and because I feel like, the bodies are the bodies, and they've probably always been here. The energy is here or whatever. And some people's body is theirs and some people's not. And the bodies are just like vehicles, like Lamborghinis or whatever. So people would just probably, or beings were probably just, traversing the cells, going through all the different layers. And then with that happening, I'm pretty sure that the parasites probably mounted up and collectively got together so where they could try to take it all. You know what I mean? I feel like that's probably what happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's these grand stories, but very true. I mean, not even very true. This is my favorite shit. Is like once you were like breaching into this realm, even as far as the shape of this, when we're dealing with a quantum or holographic reality, how that works with consciousness. Whatever I choose to believe is gonna start to conspire. Like it's gonna, like the reality is gonna start to organize. Like the hyper intelligent organizing force that's behind all this design and imbued in it is gonna organize around that belief. So if I'm believing in this story, I'm like placing myself in a reality or non alternate reality where that's the case. And if I believe in another one, then that's the case. Or even a worldview. You take Newtonian physics compared to quantum physics, and you have two individuals, they have two completely different belief sets about how reality works on a fundamental level, but because it's quantum, they're in two different realities where that's the case. And so it's like, now which ones do we choose to empower ourselves the most? But not even that, because I'm sure there is one that's actually true, like the most, like, that's the
base
one.
reality.
Yeah, and to align with that one. And so I feel like to even find the knowledge on that, it could be some of the most coveted shit on the planet. It's hard to find. Like even when I came across knowledge about the language and what's on the other side, and initiatory rites and the shit that you wouldn't know unless somebody came up and told you. And what's obvious doesn't become apparent until somebody's ready. And it's just so cool. And so with that context, when the knowledge does come to your hands, you receive it and it makes sense and it clicks, and then you're able to make that shift and to traverse to the next thing. There's just too much gratitude, too much joy like happening. It's just so inclusive. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, man, it's all the same, I guess, in a sense. It's coming from the same place, but like it keeps getting like fractalized and broken down, and then it subjects the whole everything to that fractalization. Everything subjected to this broken mirror that continues to just keep breaking and breaking, and then the template keeps breaking down, and like everything in life feels that. You know what I mean? It's not like there's any separation in a sense. Like there's no part of the universe that doesn't feel what's happening. So it's all happening to the universal body or the cosmic body, and we're all dealing with this fragmentation process that's just diluting the framework or the template to where, you know, people are beings, everything is coming back broken, you know, with a broken code.
Damn, yeah.
And it's just, you know, it's just not lighting up all the way, you know, like the hologram isn't just light, it's not fully enlightened, you know, so it's coming back with broken codes, and
Void. It's coming back void.
yeah, and then it's just creating from that place, and then there's just more, and then you don't, when you create from a broken template, then whatever got created from it, it doesn't even remember the generations prior that had certain benefits and certain things that were like ingrained in the template. It's just, that's just gone now. So it's like you don't even know, you literally don't know what you're missing.
Oh, and
And
that's memory. Oh, keep going. Go for it though. I'll just drink some water.
you're not. No, that's all it is, man. Like you said, it's just information. It's light, you know, and I guess you can't really put a time on it or a time frame on it, but it has concentrated and expressed itself in different areas of life, and all those areas seem to be under attack, you know, for, you know, to keep everything separated and diluted and to where it can't unify. But the universal breath, that is the only intention, is to bring everything together constantly. So it's like trying to keep a beach ball underwater, you know, trying to separate things, but because ultimately it's gonna condense and then dilute again and then condense. But you know, this is a wild phase that we're in right now, because it's basically a bunch of spoiled brats that are all subjecting us to their pain. And it's like they know, like, if I hurt myself, you all feel it. If I keep hurting myself, you all feel it. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what we're living with.
Yeah. That's like there was something so specific. Oh, just how it's obvious how since before anybody even got here in this lifetime, there's been so much psychological warfare being waged everywhere, and it's like like it's not a big deal because, you know, I feel like there's something being churned. Like this is just, you know, these forces, and you know, and it's, you know, it's just baking a meal or some, you know, baking something in the oven or preparing, you know, something that's being made through an alchemical planetary transformation that's going on. So it's, you know, it's not to take it too serious, not to take it too lightly, but at the same time, it's offensive to look at the degrees of real warfare, like attacks that are so covert and embedded in things like the symbolism, which I feel like is probably the base thing that you alter around people is their symbolism. And once you do that, then the people starts to change over time, like magic. And like I'm getting pissed about it. But what you got?
I was gonna say it's like part of your body responds to a certain part of the light spectrum, and it's like the spiritual side responds to symbols and you know, geometric pattern.
Yeah,
so,
tones, frequencies, geometries, through cymatics, they're all linked directly. Like there's a geometric pattern for every single hertz, you know, with those experiments with the salt on the tray. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, and so it's just really there, and so I'm seeing it now is just, it's a connection that everybody has to make inside themselves about what's really going on. Like, where are our relations? Oh, they're everywhere. Where's my umbilical cord plugged into? Oh, this is fake matrix. This is gooey laid on top of the real matrix. I thought it was the real one the whole time. I guess not. So
it's a wild thing. That's the wild thing. The overlay is incredible because people like will be in life, but then they're also in their like holographic intervision overlay that, like, you know, creates really the jaundiced view of life. You know, it creates the you know, it's creating this like perception and this like jaded view, or like overlaid over top of the reality of things, and then it like makes the reality. You know what I mean? It like
it's false.
It bridges the parallel. Yeah, it bridges it into it to where it's like, if you're greeting everybody with this jaded perspective, then you make it true because like you're like merging the parallels, like you're merging this like frequency that you're being jaded by into this reality and making it manifest into a 3D hologram level. And then now we got actual bigotry or actual whatever it
Oh
is. You know what I mean?
shit, yeah.
It's actually happening.
Actual racism, yeah, yeah.
I mean, you can just stoke the fire.
Like God,
And
yeah. Oh wow. But I mean, do you see how it's like a to go through those layers to arrive at the 3D one, and how shit's literally inside out and backwards?
yeah, it's wild. It's dope how like the macro is the micro and the in is the out. I mean, it's like the body has this short, has the shortest scope. Being, I guess it's really the smallest part, but the part that people fixate the most. It's really the smallest part of the being, and it's got this short scope, but it's like everything and nothing at the same time. It's like God in 3D is the devil. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't really, and then the devil. It's like crazy like paradox / Tai Chi, like where you need the devil to tempt you so you don't what not to do, and it's like guidance in like a circumvented way, but it's direct at the same time. It's crazy, yo.
Well, it's like
I feel like
inextricably linked as well. And I feel like when you really do see that in the moment, you realize it. You're like, you like don't move an inch, and you're like, there's no way I'm getting out of this by moving or doing anything. Like it's like, are you seeing? Like, do you see? Like, it's just like, whoa. Any move I make is gonna put me deeper in it. And so yeah, and still with stillness being the portal or the access point, or just to whatever it is, and it's just I love that the sense in the Tao Te Ching is like one not need to move an inch to realize oneness, or however that goes.
Yeah, I mean the stillness is the source of all movement, and silence is the source of all sound. So yeah, like it's like you align with those attributes, and then you just get closer to the source. You know what I mean? Everything that comes with that. It's dope. I really feel like it's dope. Everybody needs to experience it, man.
Yeah, they all do, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut off the podcast right now. But for anybody who feels like that is something for you, and you want to work on it hands on and get into a practice, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll leave Taylor's email down here. We'll leave Taylor's email in the description of this, and you can reach out for a consultation call, and we can see if we can help you where you're at. Whether it's and you can add anything, Taylor, but this is what we got is if you're on meat, you want to get off of meat. If you want to fast, you need help fasting, you want more information. If you want to cleanse, you're looking for a cleanse kit, or you want something specific going on. Taylor, what was the course you took on homeopathic shit?
I took a naturopathic course, but I mean I got all my PDFs and audio books and premium videos for $100.
So those three.
Yeah.
For sure. So if you want to get into it, that's a great place to start. And if you want to dive even deeper, again, so you could just reach out and we'll get you set up with a consultation call. We see if we can work with you to actually get this to happen. Because I'm not sure. This is the message. I feel like just moving through, and so always gonna add this on the end.
I think it's gonna be wild. A lot of people are probably gonna go through purge symptoms between now and the end of the year, and it'll probably give false validity to the baloney 19 virus, and I think a lot of people are going to have symptoms of sickness as they go through purge, and they're just going to be calling that shit baloney 19, and it will like give a false validity. So people do need to, like, whatever stages they're in now, they need to start transitioning, because it's the quickening right now, and it's the quickening. It's all, every day is critical.
It's critical, and we're using that space, working with that space, and I really don't feel like I don't feel like I could be stopped personally. I don't feel like anything's stopping you, especially just staying on this. I feel like we're good. As many people as possible to assist. It just really is a nonstop thing. I'm not, there's really nothing else to do other than come up with solutions, especially if there's all this suffering going on. And so I, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you, Taylor. I want to thank you, whoever's watching, to just continually stay involved with this particular message, because the more people are really aware on that, it's really that awareness alone that can get you, it protects you. Certain stages of awareness it really does. It can, prevent so much from happening. And so that's why,
like you always say, collapsing timelines and stuff. Once you just know a little bit more, you just, you just time travel and you become the future you now. And I don't know, I just want to say, anybody in Idaho or Arizona or Texas, definitely reach out, you know what I mean? Because that's the only places on the West Coast that I feel like then there's no mandatory masks. So I feel like those are probably the last. Maybe those would be the places that people will have to go have an exodus to. I don't know, but I just definitely want to be in touch with anybody from them places.
Yeah, all the way. Yeah, all the way. And yeah, so shout out. Yeah, this is just feeling great intuitively, and just gonna keep rocking it today, and just send whatever energy, some adaptogenic energy through the phone, through the camera, through the phone with you, Taylor. Is there any last things you want to say before we go?
No, that's it, bro. Oh man, it was always nice. It's always nice, man. We'll do some more for sure.
Yeah, most most
For
definitely.
definitely.
Cool. Well, all right, brother.
All right
Yeah.
then, bro.
Cool.
Be easy.
Yeah, likewise,
Peace.
G. Later.